Howdy, 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 my name's Anachi Sasuke, and welcome back to Let's Read the SCP Foundation Wiki. I legit just almost accidentally did the game theory opening. I was like, hello internet, welcome to— wait, that's not my channel. So in this episode, we're in the 1000s now. Woo! I did find out the other day while watching Markiplier play the Unity SCP game, which I will do that if I can. I want to try to play that. Either version of the game is fair game at this point. I just gotta find out if I can run them or not. But while that was happening, I wanted to show one of my friends what Radical Larry looked like for realsies, not in the game version, and found out that they have revised that article a lot since I did that 2 years ago. So if anybody has the free time to check through the articles and let me know if any have been drastically altered within the first 1,000 of these since I last covered them, because I can probably just pull it up to show you what I'm talking about. See, the old man. I pulled up the article and the first thing was, okay, that's not the picture that used to be here. And then there's these things, and then there's that. And then there's that. There's so much things in this article that look absolutely nothing like it did when I last read this. So, if people are willing to go through there and let me know how many other articles have been drastically changed like that, let me know in the comments or something. And I'd really appreciate it. I was going to do it myself, but I wasn't able to start doing it until like midnight last night. And my brain was like, you're not going through 1,000 of these at midnight. Stop it. So, that being said, in this episode we're going to be checking out Yativio, Demisers, the Tapeworm Child, Factory Porn, and the Painted Man. I have no idea what SCP-1004 is going to be. It could be— I don't know, man. I can't even hazard a guess. So, Yativio. It's Euclid. SCP-1001 is to be kept at Biosite 103 in a greenhouse reinforced as per Dangerous Organisms Protocol 12A. Alright. It is remain rooted in the soil core, 9 meters in diameter, 4 meters deep, in which it was removed from the site of discovery. It is to be watered and fertilized sporadically as detailed in Document 2. No object capable of producing hazardous sound, sonic weaponry, audio-based mimetic effects, high decibel infrasound, etc. is permitted within hearing distance of Biosite 103. The object is to be fed 20 kilograms of nutritional supplement R8 once monthly. The precise formula for nutritional supplement R8 is detailed in Document 2, but it bears repeating that the supplement's protein content is not to be less than 40% by mass, and that all protein is derived from pigs, dogs, or comparably intelligent species. So if you want to feed it disposable dudes, it sounds like you can do that. These guidelines may be altered as necessary when testing requires that it be hungry. Bones, horns, and other hard tissues are never to be provided except as part of a duly supervised test. All tests involving provision of hard tissue are to be pre-approved by both Dr. Glastonbury and the current site director of Site 103. Okay? SCP-1001 is a single plant apparently belonging to an undescribed species of, well, witchja. Unlike other species, it has a tree-like trunk which broadens into a woody taproot 180 centimeters wide and 5 meters long, 2 meters of which protrude above the surface. Also unique are its leaves, which are up to 6 meters long, lined with barbed prickles, and capable of secreting a sticky pitch-like resin, and which are capable of motion with considerable dexterity and strength. It is geographically disjunct from its known relatives, having been found in the Andean high desert near blank Peru. The trunk and taproot are hollow, opening to a rounded aperture at its apex, filled with a highly caustic solution of hydrochloric acid and digestive enzymes comparable to those found in the pictures of Nepenthes SP. What is that? Is it the Venus flytrap or something else? It looks like it's the thing that Victory Bell is based off of. Is Victory Bell full of hydrochloric acid? This solution is capable of reducing 50 kilograms of soft animal tissue to a thin slurry within 20 minutes of submersion. While it is capable of photosynthesis, the leaves are singularly inefficient, producing only approximately 50% of the plant's caloric requirements. Likewise, its roots are unusually ineffective at uptake of organic and mineral nutrients. To mitigate this deficiency, 1001 is an obligate carnivore. It uses its prehensile leaves to capture any passing prey and pull it into the central cavity where it is digested. So its leaves don't do the photosynthesis, and its roots don't do the ground thing, so it just eats animals. Okay. Its intelligence is highly debatable. Its basic hunting tactics resemble those of flounders. It buries its longest leaves in the sand and waits for a sufficiently large animal, at least 40 kilograms, to pass by, whereupon it emerges suddenly and captures the passing prey. While this tactic does not produce results sufficiently quickly, when it does not, however, it resorts to sophisticated audio mimicry. It is capable of reproducing literally any sound it has ever been exposed to, as well as recombining known sounds into novel phrases. It has been observed using the latter capacity to lure human prey, speaking in the voice of other humans known to the prey subject. Its means of sound production are unknown, so it can't hear sonic weapons because then it can be sonic weapons. Okay. But what about Sonic the Hedgehog? Also interesting are 1001's prey preferences. It prefers to consume intelligent animals, especially those capable of tool use and or of building artificial structures. Humans are always its preferred prey, but in their absence it has accepted primates, dogs, parrots, pigs, beavers, ants, and nest-building birds. Note that many of these species fall well below its usual size threshold, some to such a degree that capturing and digesting them produces a net energy loss. Its method of detecting intelligence is unknown, but apparently not based on experience, since it has attacked squid and small dolphins with eagerness comparable to its attacks on humans and Andean monkeys. It is incapable of digesting hard tissues completely. The bones of its prey are gradually excreted through channels near the top edges of the caudix. Once excreted, these bones are invariably picked up with one of the subject's leaves and moved to a location on or beneath the soil surface surrounding it. The object arranges the bones in complex patterns which are demonstrably useless for water capture, and, being primarily subterranean, do not aid in attracting prey. Their resemblance to the blank Nazca data redacted and the devotional mandalas of SCP blank, or data redacted, have led to Dr. Glastonbury to hypothesize that they may be representational or even data redacted anomalous effects. SCP-2815. At the time of its discovery by the Foundation in 18-something, it was located at the center of a roughly circular bone pattern 18 meters in diameter and 8 meters deep, blank 7% of which was composed of human bone. Nearby native tribes professed religious fear of the object and were providing it with regular human sacrifices. The sacrificial ritual, as finally divulged to Foundation interrogators, required attendant priests to escort the sacrifice towards 1001 along a strictly delineated avenue, later found to correspond closely to certain features of the subterranean bone pattern. Deviations from the pattern were said to be punished by capture and consumption of the attendants as well as the sacrifice, but a successful ritual resulted in only one person being taken. In rare cases, a priest will be directed to move a particular data redacted, provided in return with an unspecified gift, or even push back the date of the next required sacrifice. Oral histories state the ritual to have been originally demanded by the tree itself, data redacted, spoke in the voice of our data redacted. Okay. The demisers are also Euclid. The demisers, or an instance of the demisers, at original recovery location. The shadow looks like a police officer. All objects tied to instances of 1002 are to be contained in a brightly lit 6x6, 20x20 meter foot chamber. 6 is to be contained in a suitably sized hangar. No disposable dues are to come within 10 meters of the containment chamber or hangar. No personnel involved with end of the month termination for D-class personnel are to come within 10 meters of the containment chamber or hangar. Is this how they get rid of them every month? Do they just send them in here and then they just cease? All interactions with the demisers are to be done via a robotic drone. The demisers' containment chambers to be guarded by 3 members of security who have not yet killed in a combat situation. The same will be done with 6's containment hangar. Okay. 1002 is an abnormal shadow belonging to a group of 6 objects currently in Foundation custody. Each of these objects possesses the shadow of a humanoid individual dressed in a law enforcement uniform. Objects tied to 1002 currently in containment are a grandfather clock retrieved from blank, possesses the shadow of a medieval knight. A small pole retrieved from blank possesses the shadow of a member of the blank PD. A large printer retrieved from blank possesses the shadow of a Roman soldier. A pigeon retrieved from the blank possesses the shadow of a member of the blank police force. A kitchen knife retrieved from blank possesses the shadow of a security guard at the blank casino. A Boeing 737 retrieved from blank possesses the shadow of a member of the SWAT team. A SWAT team. The objects tied to 1002 do not behave in an anomalous manner with the exception of their shadow. The demisers tied to these objects are dormant and stationary until an individual who has committed what is socially considered to be a crime in the last 6 months comes within 10 meters of the object they are tied to. At this point, the instance will become active and manifest as a dark humanoid figure similar in appearance to their dormant stage. 1002 will then attempt to pursue the targeted individual. Instances have demonstrated high levels of agility and appear to be able to track their targets through walls. If the targeted individual moves 10 meters away from the instance, it will return to a dormant state of its original object. If the individual is caught by this manifestation, they will inflict a physical punishment directly proportionate to the crime that the individual has committed. Despite the severity of the physical punishment, the victim will remain alive and conscious until taken 10 meters away from the manifestation. Though through careful study, researchers have discovered punishments tied to the following crimes: littering, removal and severing of fingers, shoplifting, non-fatal removal of finger, tongues, and eyes, burglary, non-fatal removal of hands, ears, tongues, and eyes, assault, heavy damage to the legs, removal of hands, ears, tongue, and eyes, murder, non-fatal removal of arms, legs, ears, tongues, and eyes, mass murder, non-fatal removal of arms, legs, ears, tongue, and eyes. Subject was then disemboweled and, using the subject's internal organs, suspended from the ceiling of the testing chamber. Movement was detected from the subject for 2 minutes before they were removed from the area by members of security. Dang. Okay, tapeworm child. This sounds like it's probably gonna have... I was about to say, feels like it's gonna have an uncomfortable picture with it. It's Keter. Decayed instance of 2 recovered from the taxidermist shop. The Foundation currently has 10 instances of 2, designated 2A through K, in its possession, all of which are held in separate, heavily guarded high-security cells at Bioresearch Area 13. All personnel at Bioresearch Area 13 are to undergo regular, compulsory testing for signs of 1003 infection. Personnel wishing to access A through K may only do so for the express purpose of research, must have level 4 security clearance, and must have written permission from O5 blank beforehand. They are to wear biohazard suits when entering A through K cells, and may go through an intensive disinfection process afterwards. No animals of the order Carnivora are to be allowed at Bioresearch Site Area 13 under any circumstances. So is that just carnivores, or is that... That's probably just carnivores. 1 is an adult tapeworm of the species Echinococcus granulosus, known for causing hydatid disease. Like others of its species, 1 inhabits the small intestines of carnivores, typically canids, so dogs or foxes, where it produces eggs that are passed into the host feces. The eggs can survive up to blank years in the outside environment. When the eggs enter the gastrointestinal tract of a human subject, hereby designated the intermediate host, via consumption of contaminated food, they hatch into larvae, which burrow into the host tissues. It is at this stage that 1003's anomalous properties begin to manifest. Instead of developing into cysts, the larvae develop into creatures which resemble human embryos, hereby designated 2. The vast majority of 2 specimens die before they have a chance to develop. Those that survive are usually those that are embedded in a nutrient-rich tissue such as hepatic tissue. As they develop, they absorb nutrients from the surrounding tissue, which often cause problems for the intermediate host. The development mostly follows the pattern of normal human prenatal development, but at a faster rate. By 8 weeks, it is as mature as a 3-week-old neonate, although it is similar in size to an 8-week-old embryo, approximately 13 to 16 centimeters. Once it has reached this stage, it will actively consume the intermediate host from within using sharp, hooked teeth. The growth is accelerated by an even greater extent as it is doing this. By the time it has fully consumed the intermediate host, usually after blank minutes or so, it will have developed into a child. The physical age of the child typically ranges from 10 months to 11 years, depending on the mass of the intermediate host, though in extreme cases where the intermediate host is morbidly obese, it can be as high as 13 to 15 years. Once 2 is finished, it will lose its hooked teeth along with its cannibalistic tendencies, from whereon it will be functionally indistinguishable from a human in every respect with no knowledge or memory of having been a parasite. It will even possess learned skills, i.e. language, that would be expected of a child at its apparent age, despite having no way it could have learned them. Instances of 2 are usually taken into orphanages and sometimes adopted by foster parents. Their only anomalous properties at this stage are that their DNA is somehow still identical to that of the tapeworm, and that their body fluids, including sweat and saliva, contain tapeworm protoscolex, which infect carnivores and develop into 1, thus continuing the cycle. Testing of 1003 with animals such as cattle and sheep, which are common intermediate hosts of the tapeworms, have found that its anomalous properties only manifest in humans, and in all their cases its life cycle is normal and causes hydathic disease in the intermediate host. I'm not sure why that's Keter. Is it just because they can't contain it? Probably because once it turns into a normal child, its bodily fluids can make it keep happening. Factory porn. It's safe. Recent edition of 1004. All copies of 1 and 2 are kept in a secure containment locker 17 at Site 37. At no point are any copies to be used for recreational purposes. Following the events of Incident Dale, researchers are no longer allowed to view the output of 1004, even when filtered or via secondary source. Only D-Class are allowed to view the output of 4. Use of 7 and 1133-7 and 894 instances by researchers and control subjects has been approved where deemed appropriate in preventing undesired spread of 1004's effects. Okay. The Foundation has set out to prevent anyone from receiving copies of 1004 by a planned and ordered process of unrequested electronic mailings, many of which include computer viruses, malware, or electronic worms. A program has also been designed and disseminated to all electronic mail providers to help prevent 1004 from spreading. Description: 1004 is a computer program found either on a CD or a 3.5 diskette, either of which will be hand-labeled with the words factory porn. Contained on these disks is a single executable file labeled thefactory.eex, a 1 kilobyte program. I knew it! I knew it was factory related. I was hoping it wasn't, because the factory is not something I want to equate to porn. But I knew it. The program runs perfectly on all platforms. Running the program results in a window opening on the computer, within which the factory logo is displayed. The logo fades to black and is replaced by the words, "What would you like to see?" At this point, the user may input any selection of words from the ambiguous to the precise. Once a request has been input, the program will pull up several dozen images of pornographic content, each of which leads to a full video on the subject. Many of these videos appear to have never been made in real life. Watching videos on 1004 has a cumulative effect. The more pornography a user watches, the more disturbing their sexual desires become, and the harder sexual gratification becomes. After approximately 100 straight hours of viewing pornography on 1004, even the most normal of viewers will display an interest in that, the torture and murder of living beings, bestiality, pedophilia, and combinations of the previous. I know what that first one is, I really don't want to say it. The deadening of reactivity to sexual gratification will encourage them to seek out such things with other people or to mutilate themselves and their genitalia. It should be noted that 1004 displays no compulsive properties. Users are free at any time to stop using the program. The majority of users continue to use 1004 because it is the easiest way to find the desired pornography. As stated above, any word or combination of words may be entered. This has been used by many victims to view popular members of high social standing in the bedroom, giving rise to rumors of celebrity sex tapes. The thought has been posited that such videos could be used for the blackmailing of politicians who were antithetical to the Foundation cause. Unfortunately, at this time, all attempts to make recordings of 1004 have resulted in only taped static. Several researchers have claimed to be able to see humanoid shapes moving in the static, but this effect has not been seen on subsequent playthroughs. 1004 appears to spread through the use of electronic messages sent seemingly at random. Messages generally claim to have certain celebrities performing sexual acts or have certain depraved acts on tape that are illegal in many jurisdictions. A link included in the message requests users to enter their home address. The resulting copy may show up in a plain brown wrapper within 3 days through bulk mail with no return address. The Foundation currently contains 37 copies of 1 and 23 copies of 2. Incident Dale. Researcher Dale was found to be encouraging D-Class subjects to watch 1004 and copulate with each other for his pleasure. It was determined researcher Dale had been affected by 1004 despite having never watched it directly, only monitoring the test through a video feed. And in all indirect viewing of 1004 has been cancelled. So I imagine the reason it's safe is because just a bunch of discs that you can just, probably snap, and they don't do anything if you don't watch them, and there's nothing making you want to watch them. Also, the rainbow logo was back. It's August. Is there something August that requires a rainbow logo? And the Painted Man. The Painted Man is safe, undergoing repair in holding chamber after test. I was trying to read that advertisement. Get out of here. after test 1005-16 with level 0 assistant blank. The Painted Man is to be maintained at Site 17 in a 3x3x3 meter holding room equipped with dim lighting. He has no nutritional requirements aside from a need to maintain hydration levels. Humidity in holding chambers should be kept at a minimum of 70% when possible, and at least 1 liter of water provided for consumption daily. He also does not need to sleep, but has requested a chair in which to relax when not undergoing study. Granted. He also does not produce any waste, losing water only to evaporation, thus minimal cleanup is required. He has volunteered to give its chamber a monthly cleaning to prevent buildup of paint residue, under consideration. Due to ongoing good behavior and amicable attitude, 1005 has been granted permission to explore non-secured sections of Site 17 and utilize social rooms, provided it is accompanied by at least 1 Level 2 researcher and 1 Level 1 security agent. Update by request of maintenance crews, 1005 is required to wear coverings over its feet when leaving its chamber. Description: 1005 is a sapient humanoid entity composed of semi-solid blue paint, with exact shades ranging from near white to deep navy. The surface has a average tensile strength approximately 75% of that of human skin. This includes its clothing. 1005 is unable to consciously control the viscosity or shape of its overall form beyond the normal locomotion of a humanoid body. It can, however, control its outer layer to a point where it can choose whether or not its paint will smear on contacting surfaces. The degree to which 1005 is able to control itself in such a manner becomes lessened if overhydrated. 1005 is in the shape of a bald human male approximately 1.9 meters tall and has demonstrated the ability to speak with a deep and resonant voice. Despite this, 1005 has no gender in the physical structure or personal identity. The apparent clothing is integrated as if skin, save for the shirt at the sleeves and lower hem, and the pants below the ankles. Only 1005 shoes are fully unique. It is believed they were created separately from the rest of 1005 from the beginning. The process by which 1005 was animated and remained so is not known. By its own admission, it only remembers becoming aware only a few minutes before its reclamation during a raid at an auction being held by Marshall Carter and Dark Limited, where it was up for bid alongside several items which have been under Foundation investigation, specifically data expunged. As 1005 originally having no sense of self-worth, identity, or purpose, the mobile task force enacting the raid was able to convince 1005 that it belonged to the Foundation and had been stolen. It willingly entered custody and was transferred to the MTF staging area before permanent relocation to Site 17. To date, 1005 has been extremely cooperative with researchers, showing a polite and professional attitude. It lacks most complex emotions beyond levels of satisfaction and comfort, and has demonstrated only limited facial expressions outside of movement required to speak. Additionally, 1005 seems to lack the ability to understand abstract concepts. It is perfectly able to count, speaks fluent English and with a slight Midwestern American accent, and can perform simple tasks. Complicated mathematics, emotional responses, and existential topics such as religion leave 1005 confused, usually stating that it simply does not understand. The only driving force behind it is a desire to make its owners happy with it, usually through cooperating with testing protocols, but also while serving as entertainment or still life living artwork for personnel during recreational periods. Researchers with clearance level 2 or higher are advised to read document 1005-01478 for an abbreviated listing of testing laws concerning 1005. Okay. Short form testing logs. Test oversaturation. A volume of water was introduced to 1005 in excess of normal daily regimen via oral intake. At 2 liters, the surface was beginning to visibly run and smear. At 4 liters, they reported feeling heavy, movement sluggish and plodding. Method of introduction was changed to misting sprays at 5 liters. Subject has difficulty remaining upright and manipulating objects. Experiment halted at 6.2 liters due to threat of total loss of cohesion. When allowed time to recover and granted assistance with minor reconstruction, 1005 described the overall experience as unpleasant and that it was made to think more slowly. Dehydration. 1005 brought into a testing chamber with a relative humidity of less than 1% and temperature of 43 degrees Celsius, and placed beneath additional bright lighting and directed heat lamps. The subject was recorded as claiming to be uncomfortable before advanced dehydration rendered it immobile after approximately 30 minutes. They were successfully revived through rehydration efforts. Claimed to have lost awareness shortly after total cessation of movement, only to regain when rehydrated. This appears to be the way it understands consciousness. Vivisection. Brought into an examination room and asked to lay on the table and remain still during the procedure. Through use of sculpting tools, researchers make extensive examinations of the internal structure. Most organs aesthetically present but non-functional. Notably, the intestinal tract is extremely simplified. Most minor organs, such as an appendix and glands, are missing, and the brain is externally represented but is a solid mass within. Additionally, the subject's bloodstream carried an exceptionally watered-down slurry of paint with a more direct connection to stomach. This explains how 1005 keeps a mostly homogeneous level of hydration. Notes: 1005 was aware during the entirety of the examination. Subject reported no pain, only discomfort, and was fully aware of any and all pieces that were still attached. Experimentation with the brain showed no hindrance to thought or ability. All in all, internal structure seems more in line with a simplified artistic representation of a human body than with a precise medical recreation, with only vascular system and esophagus stomach providing actual functions. Additional note: video recording of test 9 is available under document TL1005V13. Testing of empathy. A single D-class personnel was restrained with a non-functioning device visually similar to an electric chair. 1005 was introduced and instructed to push a button. Upon inquiry of its purpose, they were informed that it would deliver an extremely painful but non-lethal shock to the disposable person. They politely declined. When threatened that they would be terminated unless the procedure was followed, 1005 hesitated. They were recorded as pleading, "Come on man, don't let them kill me." 1005 apologized for his discomfort and pressed the button. They were released from bonds and escorted from chamber by security personnel. After the test, 1005 was asked why the man was not shocked. Doctor explained that they were testing 1005's reaction and never meant actual harm. 1005 stated relief that he was not expected to injure a living person. Exact phrasing seems to point towards this being a case of going against programming than true empathy. 1005 apparently designed wholly for artistic and entertainment pursuits. Restructuring of anatomy. Using sculpting tools and paint supplies, numerous alterations were made to 1005's physical structure, including sculpting painting of additional eyes, removal of right arm, reattachment of right arm below left arm, and sculpting of an additional nose and abdominal region. 1005 reported all experiences to be extremely uncomfortable and disorienting, but extra organs and reattached limbs proved to be fully functional. Male sexual organs proved no more sensitive than any other skin surface and exhibited no reactions. Following testing, 1005 was returned to original state, politely requested that the test not be repeated. Additional note: the assistant blank repeatedly suggested during testing that 1005 have clothing excised and given a real man's body before being redressed. 1005 politely refused, and assistant blank reprimanded and removed from case when she was shown to be developing unprofessional levels of attachment to 1005. Okay, so that about does it for this episode. In the next one, we'll be checking out Spider Proletariat, Mr. Life and Mr. Death, which are probably Dr. Wondertainment, Exile Stone, The Beautiful World, and The Green Man! If you liked it, a like and a subscribe will be groovy. If you didn't, you'll need to do either one of those things, and I will see y'all in the next one. Later!